Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I was going to show you how to sew up month 5 of the Christmas Stitch block of the month. And I apologize, but I am not going to have a tutorial today. I ran into several issues and therefore running into those issues I was not able to film a tutorial. But I am going to walk you through some of the issues that I found. Some of them have been addressed, so I'll talk about that here in a minute. But I wanted to apologize up front. Okay, so some of the things I wanted to tell you guys about were the cutting instructions. The cutting instructions were incorrect for this month, and Cherie at Pastry Shop Quilts knows that, and she sent out new cutting instructions, but as I was sewing this up, I found that they're still incorrect. So haven't had a chance yet to let her know, but I will. But I wanted to let you guys know, since I had just made these blocks, because you probably have the corrected instructions and they're still not correct. So, so for the cutting instructions, if you go down to the first bit under the tulip block, it says for 1.5 inch squares for the green dot. You only need one. So that changed that. And then if you go down to the red tonal, you need 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch strips. I don't remember what the old one is, so if you have the old pattern, that's not correct. So you might want to change that. If you go down to the green dot in the poinsettia burst, sorry, that last direction was for the poinsettia. So the red tonal, 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch strips. I don't remember what the old measurement was, but that one was incorrect. So if you have anything that says other than that, make sure that you change it to 2.5 by 4.5. The green dot under the poinsettia burst also says for 1.5 inch squares, and you only need one of those. So if you cut multiple, you probably ran out of fabric. If you cut any of these incorrectly because you got the original directions, make sure you contact Pastry Shop Quilts. They'll get you some new fabric. She did mention that if you have your boo-boo kit, to try to use that fabric and then let her know what fabrics you need to make up for it, and she'll send you some next month. But if you still don't have enough, definitely make sure you contact her. These are her patterns, not mine. I just wanted to make that clear because I've had a few people write to me and say, this pattern's all wrong, you know, what did you do, that kind of thing. These are not my patterns. So I want to make that clear first of all. I did the best I could with what I had. I unfortunately got the instructions before I got the corrected ones, and those were still a little bit off. So I struggled a little bit. I consider myself a fairly prolific quilter, and with the tulip block in particular, I struggled a lot with that. So I'm going to start with the poinsettia block, which is the second block. So here's what that looks like. This one, once the cutting instructions were correct, that one came out pretty good. I did have to recut a couple things, but after the cutting instructions were corrected and I figured out the mistakes, that one came out really well. This one came out to size, so if you follow the directions, you should be okay. Again, I'm sorry I didn't have a tutorial, but to be honest with you, when I was making these blocks, I was very, very frustrated because they weren't coming out correctly, and I don't think you would have wanted to sew with me. I don't get that upset about sewing very often, but I was upset because it took me all day to sew 2 blocks, and usually I can get 2 blocks done in 20 minutes. So anyway, so the other block, the tulip block, and this still isn't correct. Looking at the photo of what it's supposed to look like, mine doesn't look like that. And I redid this block 3 times. Okay, 3 times. So I still think there's something off, and I don't know what it is. I haven't been able to figure it out with the cutting instructions and the sewing instructions, because like I said, I followed them to the T along with the cutting instructions, and especially after the corrected cutting instructions, and my block is still wrong. Like I said, I'm a pretty prolific quilter. I'm not perfect, I know that. I make mistakes just like everybody else, but I usually my blocks aren't this off. This block is supposed to, these are supposed to both be 10.5 inches square finish, and the poinsettia one finished at that, but this tulip one is way off. This one came out to about 9.5 by 10 instead of 10.5 inches square. So I don't know what happened. I think there's still something off in the pattern, so I'm gonna definitely let Cherie know. If you guys found the same thing, or maybe I'm not seeing something right and you can let me know. Maybe I just am reading something wrong. I don't know, but I'm really just wanting to throw this one out the window. It doesn't look very nice. I had to add extra fabric, and I don't even know if you guys can see that in the film. I had to add extra fabric all the way around just to make it 10.5 inches square. So I had to take from the extra white that I had and put it around the block. And so I've got a lot of extra wonky kind of seams. It is 10.5 inches square now, but it's not pretty. And so I'm debating whether I should try to make this again or what I should do. But right now I'm just really frustrated with it, so I'm going to put it away. And so I definitely didn't want to do tutorial because obviously mine's not coming out correct. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I cut everything the way I was told to cut it. I sewed it the way I was told to sew it. And I picked this block out more than I sewed it. So I picked this block apart at least 3 times and only finished it once, and it's still not correct. So again, sorry for no tutorial this month. I'm going to work on this block, I think, with some scrap fabric and see if I can't figure out what is wrong and why it's not turning out correctly. I mean, even the tulips are off, the shape of them. Like one side here is like shorter than this side, so they look funky. I don't know. Like I said, right now I'm just really frustrated with it, so I am going to set it aside and leave it. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I didn't forget about you. I didn't forget about making a tutorial. I just can't make one right now. I can't, and I'm just trying to be honest. I love Pastry Shop Quilts. I love Cherie. She does a great job. But for some reason, these instructions and these cutting mistakes have just thrown me off. So this one came out well, this poinsettia block, but this tulip block is all kinds of funky. So I couldn't do a tutorial for you guys. So I will try to figure it out, and if I do, going forward, I will make a tutorial just on the tulip block, because I think the poinsettia block was really easy. I think you'll be okay with this one on your own. But if I can figure this out with scrap fabric before I dig into, I actually have a little bit of this fabric in my own stash. So if I can figure this out with scrap fabric, instead of wasting the Christmas stitch fabric, and get it to come out correctly, I will come back and make another video. But for now, sorry, that's where we're at. If you did not get the corrected instructions, or you need more fabric, make sure that you get a hold of Cherie at Pastry Shop Quilts. She did say, you know, I don't know what happened, but she did say she knew that the cutting instructions were wrong, but not until somebody brought it to her attention, not me, somebody else. And so she said, if you need something, definitely get a hold of her. In the meantime, I'm gonna take a break for a few days on this, and then I'm gonna try with scrap fabric and see what happens. And you know, if I can get it to work, then I will come back and I will make another video of just the tulip block with some of the Christmas stitched fabric that's in my stash and make it correctly. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here, for watching, and for understanding. I just wanted to be honest with you. I mean, it is what it is. I like doing these tutorials every month, but this month just did not work out. So I will be back with you soon, hopefully with good news within the next week. Like I said, I'm going out of town tomorrow, so I'm not going to be sewing. I'm going to put this out of my brain for a couple days, and then when I get back, I will recut this out of scrap fabric, restitch it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, after my head is cleared, it'll come out correctly and I can show you how to make it. All right, take care. Have a great day, and I hope to see you really soon. Bye.